We got another Gerrit Cole injury scare, and Jackson Holliday is back. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Wednesday, July 31st. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers, and let's start things off with Gerrit Cole, who was scratched from his start on Tuesday due to general body fatigue, and he reiterated that he's not dealing with an arm issue and that he expects to pitch this weekend. Aaron Boone added that Cole has also been dealing with a stomach bug throughout the week. We know that Cole missed the first 3 months with right elbow inflammation, so I think it's fair to be skeptical here, but Chris, how are you handling this? What do you think about Gerrit Cole here?
Look, you can't prove that he's not hurt, right? Like you can't prove a negative or whatever. You can't disprove a negative, whatever the saying would be here. But based on what we know, I have no reason to think something untoward is happening or that they are not being on the level or anything like that. If he had a stomach bug, it's perfectly reasonable for Gerrit Cole to not be feeling at his best a few days later, dehydration, not being able to eat. Like it happens, once a year I'll get the flu and I'm just out of it for like a week. So, I'm assuming that's what's happening here and that they're being honest and they're being on the level about what's going on. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday comes, it's his, side throwing day and he doesn't make that. And then we can start to ask questions. But right now I'm not going to worry about it. There's a lot of stuff to worry about in fantasy baseball right now without that.
Yeah. And on Tuesday, we know that it was deadline day. Lots of trades went down. We are not going to talk about the trades here. You can check out, we did a bonus podcast, so make sure to go check that out. But one of the trades that happened was that the Orioles acquired Trevor Rogers. They traded away Connor Norby, so they needed a second baseman. They recalled Jackson Holliday, who this season in the minors was batting .271 with a .431 on base percentage, 10 homers, 8 steals, a .908 OPS. He had a taste in the majors. It did not go well, obviously. 65% rostered. Chris, if Jackson Holliday was dropped, do you think he needs to be re-added in fantasy?
Yeah. I think he should be added in any league where he's available. I do think it's funny, and it says something funny about the mindset of the fantasy baseball community, where there was like a palpable sense of disappointment when the Orioles announced that they were calling up Jackson Holliday and not Kobe Mayo. Even though Jackson Holliday is unanimously considered to be the better prospect, he's old news to us. But here's the thing you have to keep in mind about Jackson Holliday. He doesn't turn 21 until December of this. Like, if the Orioles win the World Series with Jackson Holliday on the roster, he will not be able to drink alcohol during their celebrations. They will have to get like some sparkling cider for him to pop in the locker room. That's how young we're talking about here. He's a year younger than the number 1 pick in the draft 2 weeks ago, right? Like, he was bad for 36 plate appearances in the majors. No prospect writer that I follow thinks that took any of the shine off of the top prospect in baseball or one of the top prospects in baseball. Since coming back from that elbow injury, he's hitting like .270 with a .400 on base percentage, like a .930 OPS. This is still a premier talent. It may not work out. He may not, like, it's possible that he comes up and hits like Jackson Merrill, where he's like a useful fantasy player, but not a superstar yet. Or it's possible that he lives up to the expectations we all had for him. He's a must-start player the rest of the way. And this is the last time you can draft, or this is the last time that Jackson Holliday is not a top 50 player in fantasy for the next decade. I think those are both possible outcomes. They're not especially unlikely for a player of this talent. So yes, go add him if he's available in your league.
Let's wrap up with 2 big performances from Tuesday. Eugenio Suarez, 4 for 6 with a triple dong, 3 home runs in this game. Last 19 games, a .324 batting average, 10 home runs, 25 RBI. And Sean Manaea was awesome up against the Twins. He threw 7 shutout innings with 11 strikeouts, 23 whiffs on 96 pitches. Chris, do you think either Manaea or Suarez are must-adds after these performances?
So must-add Does that imply they need to be 100% rostered? I don't think either one does, but Manaea is easier to write off. He had a 9 strikeout game like 4 starts ago. He followed it up with 1 strikeout. Like he's always been inconsistent. I don't think that's likely to change. I think he's still just a streamer. Manaea is at least hot right now. 10 homers in the month of July. Average exit velocity is up to 92.4 miles per hour in the month. So there is evidence that Eugenio Suarez is legitimately locked in a way that makes me think, yeah, start him if you need a third baseman, if you need power moving forward. He probably falls off at some point and goes back to hitting 220, but I'm fine riding him while he's hot like this.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.